Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk more about MSNBC. It looks like they're not recovering. This is coming from the Wrap. MSNBC viewers still haven't returned post-election. Will they ever come back?
I thought they said before in other articles that they will in January.
I don't think they will. I think
they will, but not to the levels they were before. I don't think they're going to recover to where they were before.
So there's a lot to unpack here because they're actually talking about how legacy media is losing more people to YouTube and to podcasts, right? And I'm going to throw this into the mix too, even though it really doesn't have much to do with MSNBC. But there is the word on the street is that Tim Pool is selling to the Daily Wire, and the Daily Wire is selling to Fox News because they want podcasters and YouTubers. So that I think is pretty interesting stuff. And I'm like,
well, they want a middle of the road YouTuber, you know.
They don't want our asses. We're not. So this is so funny. Everybody's like, you're alt-right Nazis. I'm like, no. If we were, Rupert Murdoch would come knocking with a fat stack of cash. Ben Shapiro would be knocking with a fat stack of cash.
They aren't.
Because they're like, you guys are too far left for us. We don't want
I don't know. We're trying to stay in the middle as much as possible. We try not to get political, but you can't separate pop culture and politics right now. It's just impossible.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, like, look, all of this, I think, is going to end. And I have to wonder if, the people that are taking the exit strategy, and there are a lot of people leaving media on their own, they're kind of looking at the situation, and I think they know a year from now that things are going to cool down, probably for the most part. And people were over the Trump outrage that got them by for a few years, and I think things are going to kind of hopefully go back to normal. And then it's like you're just reporting, like, yeah, today, a baby fell down the well, and there's a war in the Middle East again. News at 11.
Yeah, well, I think with MSNBC, I think what they need to do is, I think they might have a chance to recoup only if they can go back to being about news.
They were never only about
news.
I'm
just saying, if they could go back to, no, but I mean like being about like actual news, not just news with here's our news with a twist. Like they go back to, if they would go to reporting, okay, let's put that, if they would go to reporting based on actual fact and not just, talking heads who have obvious political bias, people might come back because they might be like, okay, well, we're going to get the straight story from them. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that because people on there like Rachel Maddow definitely, and even the Morning Joe definitely have a bent. And I'm not talking about bent carrot. I'm just talking about bent.
Oh, no, you mentioned it. So now Google's going to, that's all we're going to see. Like
Crony disease ad.
Crony's disease ad. And it's going to come up.
You're welcome.
People are going to be like, oh my God, I keep seeing
I only know it because they kept running it on Hulu last year. Anyway.
It's like, how many people do you think have a bent carrot? I'm sitting here looking.
I don't know.
I'm looking at this picture of Joe Scarborough, and I don't watch these people. Like I know Rachel Maddow. I watch her for the laughs.
She's the only one I knew on this. That and Trump, But like Joe Scarborough looks like Matthew Perry's dad or something. Oh my God, he kind of does.
Like, is that Matthew? I keep thinking I'm looking at Matthew Perry, R.I.P. Matthew Perry, but I'm like, he looks like his dad. Anyway, let's talk about all this before we get into any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to clownfishminus.com. Support the reef. Thank you very much, because we don't have sugar daddy Rupert Murdoch throwing money at us. You can buy merchandise. You can help support the reef.
You can be her sugar daddy.
You can be our sugar.
Her sugar mama. We don't judge.
Oh my God.
Or sugar they them. Who cares?
People be like, yeah, if you send me a picture of your bent carrot. Hell no.
A real picture of bent carrot.
That'd be funny. That would actually be funny. Like, here it is. Call me the orange one. You can call me the orange one now.
When I talk about carrots, all I want is a bunny. But that's a whole other story entirely.
I know, she wants a bunny. But we also have cats.
And a dog, and two dogs. Anyway, and they're basically the one chasing that runs. So we better not.
Well, he runs after the bunnies as soon as I let him out.
Yeah, let's see.
He's like, no, I'm trying to trap the bunnies in the backyard.
Let's talk about MSNBC and not bunnies.
Well, it's more interesting than bunnies.
I'd rather talk about bunnies, but yeah.
Rabbits and bent penises are more interesting than MSNBC. So this is seriously, I'm going to be honest. I'm getting tired of talking about this shit, but people aren't tired of hearing about it because they're like, oh, we love this. We love watching it all burn down.
And I'd rather talk about bunnies and bent carrots, but here we are.
Nobody's going to watch
that.
That's
an OnlyFans. Bunnies and bent carrots.
Oh my
but
God.
That'll get you put in prison.
That sounds like a Playboy thing. It's a kink for some people. TheWrap.com.
Let's get to the point.
MSNBC viewers still haven't returned to post-election. Will they ever come back? The network's primetime audience has dropped by half, and the viewership decline may underline a growing exodus to podcasts and YouTube. Yes, I think this is a big one. This is why they hate Joe Rogan so much. This is why the pop culture journalists, I'm using finger quotes here.
You can't see it, they're air quotes.
But why they come after people like us so hard is because we're eating their lunch. You know, not just us specifically, but like all the people who cover pop culture news and cover tech news and video games, stuff like that. We are all eating their lunch. People are listening to YouTube and listening to podcasts, and they're not reading their stupid Kotaku articles unless they're ridiculous, which I have a theory that they're getting more and more ridiculous just to try to get people to come in to laugh, because it hits a hit, right? Mm-hmm. So it said more than a month after the November election, MSNBC's primetime audience has dropped by half, and it still has not returned. Will viewers come back after the inauguration when the reality of a second Trump term sets in, or has some of the audience abandoned the network for good, signaling a further shift away from traditional media? I think they're going to go someplace else. I think
if you had just told people the truth instead of just like trying to say this is going to happen and that was going to happen, all these things are going to happen that clearly didn't happen, people might not be so, trustworthy of you now, but you didn't.
It said either way, the numbers are stark. MSNBC's total primetime audience has fallen by a shocking 55% from November 4th through December 15th, according to the latest Nielsen figures.
This is after they gave her a new contract for less money, but they gave her Maddow a new contract.
She's not getting another one. I guarantee. Actually, a lot of these people, when they leave, I think they're going to go out on their own, but I don't know how they're going to do, because Don Lemon, supposedly he had a deal with Elon Musk, and then it fell through, or I don't know if Elon decided he didn't want to go, or he decided, or whatever the deal is. But his numbers on YouTube are not good.
It's interesting because we were talking about, speaking about going to the news, I sent you a thing the other day. They give Chris Cuomo a new contract at News Nation, and he was talking about how it's so nice to be able to, be able to do the news basically without playing the game. Like, how the game's played, and now you don't have to do that. Like, and what's that tell you? We know there's stuff going on behind the scenes. That one person came out and said they weren't allowed to do the interview with Elon Musk, but even it was journalism.
That was on CBS.
Yes. And Chris Cuomo's it's nice. Yeah, I forget exactly the quote, but it was talking about being able to basically do his job without having to play the game.
Yeah.
And that was interesting to me, because people are going for that kind of stuff because they know that they're going to get more honest reporting than they're going to get from places like MSNBC.
And really, it comes down to advertising. Because I had to play this game. I worked as a newspaper editor. I know people are like, you were never a journalist. No, I worked as a newspaper editor for years. And we had to dance around certain issues to keep the advertisers happy. If you've got people, that do multiple full-page ads per week or whatever, and they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars, even though we're dealing with, a more local newspaper, and they say, hey, we're going to pull if you don't cover us favorably, or you talk about this or that, which had happened before. And that's it's
well, even on YouTube we had the apocalypses and stuff because it wasn't the right kind of content and things, and even now you get better ads if you're certain verticals because it's not the same.
People it's interesting because the podcast space is kind of blowing up because that is actually the most valuable demographic. And because you've got people with money, 25 to 55, they're presumably working, hopefully. And imagine that. Children and adults who still live at home and watch cartoons all day and identify as children. Those people don't buy products, so the advertisers aren't targeting them.
Yeah, right?
They said CNN faced a similar drop, 46%.
Almost 50%.
Yep, but Fox, so they're saying, it's because people are tired of post-election coverage. Why did Fox News go up?
That's exactly it.
Why did Fox go up?
Exactly.
They said the reasons for the drop are being widely debated on social media, inside the cable news networks, and in the media ecosystem. Some viewers clearly feel generally disappointed in the outcome of the election. Others are still angry at the network itself, whether for suggesting erroneously in the days before the election that Kamala Harris was nearing the winner's circle. They did. They're going to say they didn't. But I remember, it was obvious she was going to lose, right? Very, very obvious. And like a week before, they're all like, "Oh my God, guys, she's picking up in this demographic according to this new poll. It's going to be a slam
yeah. Well,
dunk
it's
victory."
another one. We went to Blue Sky and polled them, and they said she's going to win. You know, that's who we vote for.
Yeah.
You know, you're sugarcoating, I'm sure, and cherry picking what your answers were. And they're talking about, you know, the Morning Joe people going to visit him at Mar-a-Lago to try to mend fences, and they're mad about that. You know, every time there's an election, there's people that are upset about it. It's just the way it is. You just have to get over it and move on.
It's never been this. I mean, I think it was more like shock in 2016, but it's like things have been so polarized and so contentious. Like, I mean, you always have had, like, if you look at historically, certain networks tended to lean, you know, certain directions. Like, you know, PBS News, I think,
most of them usually lean left. I would say most of them usually lean more left.
But, you know, you did have networks, you know, especially like local news and stuff. You could tell that they were probably more conservative. But,
yeah, I think this is it right here. Professor of History at New School for Social Research, Claire Potter, told The Wrap that some MSNBC viewers feel the election outcome was a bait and switch. Because they were basically told, and we know that a lot of them were really shocked. And a lot of people reacted like, I'm going to go shave my head and wear a bracelet and all this other crap and not sleep with anybody, which you never hear about that anymore.
I'm not hearing anything about that.
No, apparently they folded on that one. Or the other one was you have some people that were like, I did not see this coming. I don't understand what happened because somebody explained to me, or we that out of touch, and they're the self-aware people. But unfortunately, you're not hearing about the self-aware people as much as you are about the crazy ones. But yeah, they felt like it's bait and switch. They honestly thought they were going to win based on, you know, places like MSNBC and CNN and stuff.
They turned on the Young Turks. The Young Turks has always been more, they've actually been pretty far left. And I remember Cenk was saying before they switched Biden out for Harris that they needed to get rid of Biden. He's like, we need to get rid. So there's no way Biden's going to win. Like, he doesn't even know where he's at. You know, we got to do something. And then he was pissed that they just put Harris in because they're like, hey, we didn't get to nominate.
There wasn't time. And you had to give the money back, probably.
Yeah, and that's it. They would have had to give the money back. And then he was even like, most of the way, he's like, yeah, it's not looking too good for her. You're not allowed to say that.
Yeah.
But he tried to,
careful.
Yeah. And it was obvious to anybody paying attention. Even, you know.
Well, that's just it. It wasn't obvious as we think because they said that it's sort of an odd conjunction of what cable news channels have offered, which is you can trust us, come be part of our community. You're safe here. We'll not only keep you informed, but we'll keep you organized and energized to defeat your opponents. And that's what's coming in. And the audience is buying it hook, line, and sinker. And then when it doesn't work out, they get mad.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're basically like, yeah, guys, it's gonna be, well, I mean, hell, I mean, at least it wasn't as bad as with Hillary where they had the party balloons ready to go and everything because they thought it was gonna be a slam dunk. And I think that's why partially why people reacted as badly as they did in 2016 and they just couldn't get over it was they didn't understand what happened. And I'm going to be honest, in the middle of it in 2016, I didn't fully understand what happened. I didn't vote in 2016 because I was pissed because I saw what the Democrats did to Bernie Sanders. And I'm like, I can't trust my own party anymore.
Well, no, you can't. They always pick their friends, and that's what keeps happening.
You know, and now freaking Bernie Sanders is on Fox News. What the hell is going on here?
What's up is down, and what's down is up.
Chris Cuomo too. Chris Cuomo, he was towing the Democratic line, and now he's like, oh, finally I can say what I want. But I remember he was all like, you know, drink your Ovaltine, take your vaccines.
Yep. Yeah, and now he's like, oh, I don't have to play the game anymore. It's funny to me about this costume party thing. Like Trump staged McDonald's trip echoes dictator stunts. Actually, it was an own, and it was funny as heck. You know, I don't see you mention about the fact that the Harris campaign took a picture of somebody allegedly took a picture of somebody else who was a McDonald's worker and then put her face on it.
Yeah,
and his skin tone didn't even match. You're not talking about that, are you?
It was actually like a Hispanic.
I don't remember, but you know, they were sharing.
Oh, no,
they claimed that they did.
Died or something.
Oh, they said she did die.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it was the campaign itself or people claiming to be from the campaign, but they were sharing it all over. Like, look, it's proof she worked at McDonald's, and it could have even been somebody just making it as a joke because it was, you know, did it, and they were all running with it. I don't see you talking about that.
Yeah, so they're talking about this. They said people maybe, you know, some people are. This is Oliver Darcy, founder of the media newsletter Status. Wondered if viewers have permanently turned to other news sources from podcasts to YouTube channels and newsletters. I think this is it. Something broader is going on. Some people are depressed. Yeah. Others feel betrayed. Some are tuning out for the holidays.
I agree. I think the tuning out for the holidays is a big one. I think it will pick up close to the inauguration. people want to know what's going on. You know, they might want to hear their takes on it. So they might like want to get the tea and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, so they said it could change. MSNBC people could go back to it if Trump starts acting like a nutter and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, that's what they're all counting on.
That's what they're all counting on.
That's why I think that the Washington Post and them weren't taking sides because I think they knew he was going to win and they were going to be like, oh, crap. But
this
I think
could be
beyond
good
that.
for business one way or the other.
Yes, we've told you that. It's like for much they complain they want him out, they made a lot more money when he was in. I'm just saying.
So I'm talking about that with podcasts and YouTube, and they're kind of the same thing now, right? Like if you look at YouTube 5-8 years ago, it was more like, you know, funny cat videos and gameplay videos and you know, animation and just weird viral moments and stuff like that. A lot of the viral stuff went to TikTok, and that's a whole nother issue whether or not we're going to get to keep TikTok. But like YouTube now has become glutted with, yeah, we're part of the problem. You know, lots of talking heads and commentary and stuff now compared to what it used to be. Like that kind of content was kind of frowned upon, and now it's become kind of a mainstay, I think, because of that desirable demographic. But you know, podcasts too. Like we were actually way early to it. People don't realize. Like before Clownfish TV, there was Clownfish Radio,
and we also had
and we had
Pirates and Princesses was a podcast.
We're talking 15 years ago. It's been a long.
Well, the podcast for Pirates and Princesses wasn't, but the Clownfish one was, yeah.
Yeah, and so we were doing podcasts back then, but actually podcasts didn't work out because video came in, and people were like, "Yeah, you're stupid to do a podcast when there's video." And now all these people who are doing video are doing podcasts.
We're just doing them both.
Yeah, it's so crazy. But so this is, I'm just throwing this in here just to throw some fuel on the fire, I guess. There's been a lot of talk about Tim Pool, and he's been laying people off. I'm gonna be honest, I don't follow Tim Pool. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know. I know he's a guy who's got a hat, and he likes to skateboard, and he's got chickens, and that's, you know, basically as much as I know about Tim Pool.
Does he have bunnies?
I don't know if he has bunnies. I have no idea. But people love him, people hate him. But he got rid of a bunch of people, I guess. And I did think it was weird. I was like, how many freaking people did he have working for him? I'm like, God, I would take
we could.
tenth of that stuff. But he had all these people working for him. People are like, what's going on with Tim Pool?
We do most everything ourselves.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's insane. But you know, good help is hard to find. It really is. But anyway, so they're saying that the rumor is he's going to sell his podcast operation to the Daily Wire, but then the Daily Wire is going to potentially sell itself to Fox News. So, you know, like I can see if that's where things are going, and you want to make sure you're in that space, I can totally see these media companies being, you know, trying to pick up podcasts or whatever. But it doesn't usually work a lot of times. If you were a mainstream reporter, except for like Tucker Carlson, that was a whole nother thing. But like I said, Don Lemon went to YouTube and he's not doing too good on YouTube. Because the thing is without this, like I would love to see what would happen to Rachel Maddow, $25 million Rachel Maddow, if she went to YouTube and had to do it herself.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I don't think she'd make $25 million a year.
Why isn't everybody kissing my rear?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's very easy to, you know, move into that warm seat and be propped up by a corporation or whatever. But are we going to wrap this up?
Yeah, we could have a while ago.
Yeah, we could have. Anyway, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.